Rodney Tanner prided himself on being a rational man. As a journalist with a reputation for hard-hitting investigative work, he had built his career on facts, exposing scams, unraveling mysteries, and cutting through the noise of internet rumors. When he first heard about FollowMadTales.com, he barely batted an eye. The website was the latest in a string of urban legends that circulated online. Stories about haunted websites, cursed images, or mysterious emails that once opened supposedly led to madness. Rodney had seen it all before, but this one was different. The rumors about FollowMadTales.com had spread like wildfire. Some claimed the site hosted a collection of disturbing cryptid stories. Others said it was a twisted game, an experiment that toyed with users' minds. The most persistent rumor, however, was the one that if anyone who visited the site and followed the instructions posted there would soon find themselves hunted, not in a typical sense with ghosts or dark figures lurking in the corners, but with hallucinations, visions so terrifying and vivid that they would drive someone to the brink of insanity. Rodney scoffed when his editor suggested he write a piece on the phenomena. A ghost story for Halloween, really? He muttered under his breath. But the editor insisted. People are eating this stuff up. We need to get ahead of it. So Rodney agreed. He figured it would make for an entertaining article if nothing else, and deep down part of him was curious. He wanted to prove the rumors wrong. Just that fiction crafted for gullible minds. That evening, he sat down at his desk, his laptop casting a cool glow in a dimly lit room. He typed followmadtales.com into the browser and hit enter. The page loaded slowly as though the site itself hesitated to reveal its secrets. When it finally appeared, Rodney was underwhelmed. It looked like any number of amateur horror blogs, black background, red text, and a disorganized series of links to stories with titles like The Drowned Ones and Voices in the Night. At the top of the page in bold letters it read, "Follow the tales and you will see." Rodney clicked on the first link. The story was short, poorly written, about a man who began hearing whispers after reading a cursed book. Predictable, he thought. The second story, Eyes in a Mirror, was equally unoriginal, about a woman who saw a reflection that wasn't her own. Rodney schemed a few more stories, feeling his initial excitement fade. This was all just narrative horror nonsense. But then he found the last link, You're Next. For a brief second, Rodney hesitated. A cold drift seemed to touch the back of his neck. He glanced behind him, but saw only the shadow of his bookshelf against the wall. Silly, he thought. He clicked, the page went black. His computer screen flickered for a moment, and then a message appeared in white letters. "You follow, now we'll find you." Rodney chuckled under his breath. Creepy, but not exactly Oscar-worthy. He shut his laptop, stretched, and made a mental note to start outlining his article the next day. That night, the first dream came. Rodney found himself standing in a room that felt familiar but wrong. The walls was warped and everything around it bathed in sticky green light. In the corner of the room, a figure stood, its back turned to him. Something about the figure filled him with dread, but he couldn't look away. As he called out, the figure slowly turned and Rodney awoke with a start, his heart pounding. Brushing it off as a nightmare, he tried to return to sleep, but the feeling of being watched lingered. Over the next few days, Rodney's life became a strange and terrifying descent. He would catch glimpses of the same figure from his dreams out of the corner of his eye, in reflections or across the street. But when he turned to confront it, there was nothing there. His phone would vibrate with unknown numbers, and when he answered, there would be a low, unintelligible whisper on the other end. "You followed, now you will see. You followed, now you will see. You followed, now you will see." The real terror set in one night when he was working late at his office. Rodney had just finished a draft of his article when he heard a soft scraping sound behind him, like nails dragging across wood. He spun around in the chair, but no one was there. The noise persisted, growling louder, closer. His heart raced as he grabbed his phone and began recording, hoping to catch whatever it was in that act. As he panned the camera around a room, something filtered across the screen, something human-shaped but distorted. His face hidden in the shadow. His phone slipped from his trembling hands and crashed onto the floor. Breath quickening, he grabbed his things and left the office in a rush. Outside, the streets were eerie quiet. The usual city hummed dull. Rodney's mind buzzed with 1,000 thoughts. This was just stress, exhaustion, maybe even a prank. It had to be. But deep down, he knew the truth. He had followed the stories, and now they were following him. The next few weeks were a blur of paranoia and terror. Rodney stopped sleeping. The figure, the whispers, the eerie sense of being watched, they became constant companions. No matter where he went, no matter what he did, it was always there, lurking, waiting. Desperate, Rodney tried to warn others. He shared his experience online, hoping to debunk the curse or at least find some rational explanation. But his posts were met with skepticism, some even mocking him for falling victim for the very legend he had set out to disprove. One night, as Rodney sat alone in his apartment, eyes bloodshot and mind fried, the figure appeared again, this time in the corner of the room. Just as it had in his dreams, it slowly turned to face him, and the first time Rodney saw his face, it was his own. Before he could scream, the room went black, and Rodney Tanner was never heard from again. The only thing left behind was his last article, unfinished on the screen of his computer. The title read, "The Hunting of FollowMagTales.com, a journalist's descent into madness."